So moving forward in this session, we are going to expand our knowledge on what and how exactly group by is applied on an SQL query. And from our previous session, you must have noticed that we applied the group by clause on the designation variable. And in this session also, I'm going to use the group by clause again, but this time on a different variable with a certain catch. So let's apply the group by variable on the years with us variable. Now only this time I'm trying to know how many employees have been with us for say 1 year, for 3 years, for 4 years, or for 5 years. And the way I'm going to accomplish is that, like always, I first devise up a select from and a group by query over here. Don't think about the variables, we're going to anyway change it. But since this time we are applying the whole thing on the variables years with us, so let's group by the variable as years with us. And we also want the years with us variable to appear in the select clause also, because it is one of the variables which we want in the results. And we also want it to count the number of rows which have certain years with us incorporated into them. So before we move ahead and run the query, let's see manually what the results would be. So first let me sort this from smallest to largest, and you will notice that there are three rows which have at least 1 as the value in the variable, and there is one row with the years with us as 3, and correspondingly 3 rows for 4 and 3 rows for 5. And this is what we have tried to accomplish in this. So let's run the query, go on to design and run it. So there you go. So it is in accordance with what we expected out of the whole thing. So there are at least 3 rows which have 1 as the variable, so 1 as the value. There is just one row with the 3 as the years with us, and so on and so forth. But let's make a slight twist to this whole situation. So what if you just don't want two variables to come up in your output, and you also want the first name to be included in it, first name of all the employees who have spent at least 1, 3, 4, or 5 years with your organization. And I'm keeping the years with this the same. So let's try to run this query and see what happens. So there you go. It throws me an error. And it says that your query does not include the specific expression first name as part of the aggregate function. And to understand this situation is that make it a habit of thinking the group by clause as that every variable that has been included in the in the group by clause, only those variables in any form can appear in the select clause also. So in the previous query you saw that we use only years with us as a standalone variable, and we also use years with us as the count variable. This is the only way you can use it. So the moment you introduce another variable into the select clause, access would throw you an error. So the way of making this thing work is that you need to remove this. So this query, like always, would run. But moving on to a slightly advanced level, what if you still wanted to see the first names in your results output? So in that case, like you mentioned before, only those variables which appear in the group by clause can appear in the select clause. So to introduce that, you need to put in the first name in the group by clause also. So by doing that way, you can put the first name in the select clause also. But before we run this query, let's try to understand the results. So we move on to the original table that we have over here. Now, since we have tried to group by our query by using first name and years with us, what would happen is that it is going to look for unique combinations of the first name and the years with us across the whole table, and then going to give us the count of it. So as you would see that there are literally unique names that have been presented over here. So this whole table is expected to return the whole table as it is, with a count of the years with us as one only. So let's select the whole query, run it. So there you go. So it brings up the result, and you would see that it tells me that the first name as Akash, which has spent 3 years with us. The combination of the unique combinations of Akash and years with us as three held only just one row, and this is the reason you just see one occurrence of it. And this is the point where I need to again emphasize the point that the aggregate functions along with group byte count the number of rows which have the values of the variable in the group by clause. So since we had both the variables in our group by clause, so a unique combination was searched in the whole process, and which really didn't turn out to be true. So let's change the whole situation onto this and try to bring up a different result. So let's say I copy in Emma Wilson. So now what we have is we have a duplicate rows. We have an individual named Emma Wilson. She's a manager and she has years with us as 5. And again, there's another individual by the same name. She also holds a managerial position in the organization and she has also clocked 5 years with us. So in this case, when you're going to run the whole query, hit the run button, you're going to see that that for the Emma row we have the count designation as 2 because it looked for a unique combination of the word Emma and 5 and simply counted the number of rows that existed in this table, which happened to be 2. So this is the first row and this is the second row. So it gave you the count of the number of rows available to us. So this marks an end to the part 2 on our discussions on the group by class. Stay tuned for the next session. Thank you.